Does your bilingual child seem to be talking a little bit late and you're worried that all these languages are confusing them? If so, you're not alone. In fact, I asked parents from all around the world about their biggest challenges when it comes to raising a bilingual child, and over 60 parents share their stories. In this video, we will unpack some of the most universal challenges faced by multilingual parents and how to overcome them according to parents and experts. Before we dive in, I want to tell you about this set of super fun and colorful fruit and veggie flashcards that I made. You can choose from 8 languages. They are perfect to print at home for your little ones. To get your free copy, just use the link below or scan the QR code on screen. Have fun! Number 1, the speech delay scare. This one is contentious and it resonated with a lot of parents, and for good reason. There's still a common misconception that learning multiple languages causes speech delay, and parents are tired of hearing it.
The idea that bilingualism causes speech delay is often mentioned, but there is no evidence to support this claim.
And as a result, a lot of parents are being advised by professionals to drop the second or third language, especially if their child are saying fewer words early on. Unfortunately, that is based on an incomplete view of what speech delay means in bilingual children.
A lot of kids that are raised bilingual might say a fewer words at the beginning than their peers, and a lot of people consider that already speech delay. Sadly, a lot of parents are still being encouraged to drop one language if the child's vocabulary is not at the same level as their peers.
So, where does this idea come from? As it turns out, it depends on which metrics are used to assess a child's language development. A study published in 2024 looked at over 700 toddlers who learned both English and French. And when researchers measured only one language, even if it was the child's stronger one, bilingual kids appeared to know fewer words. This difference was even more noticeable for expressive vocabulary, or the words that the child says out loud, especially if their other language was ignored. But here's the catch. The study found that bilingual children's receptive vocabularies, or words that they understand, were just as large and sometimes even larger than those of monolinguals. And that's why it is so important to have the whole picture, because bilingual children are spreading their knowledge across 2 languages. They're actually building double vocabularies. And it's good to see that professional advice is finally catching up to research evidence.
My son has a severe speech delay, but all the therapists told me to keep using both languages. I had one therapist tell me, remember that what you're seeing in Spanish is one set of information, and what they tell you they see in English is another. It doesn't mean she is behind in what she knows, because she actually knows more since she's got 2 languages.
So while some delays are real, the research is very clear on this. The solution is not to drop a language, but actually to double down, to stay consistent and to keep supporting your child. Number 2, when no one thinks it matters. This one hits home for a lot of parents, and it certainly is not surprising. Raising a child in any number of languages is hard, especially if you don't have the support from your family or your partner.
I am a French speaker. My partner is a Portuguese speaker living in Ireland. We were supposed to do OPOL, but he doesn't. Multilingualism is not an easy journey, so it's important to be on the same page.
Other parents touch on the lack of support from grandparents and extended families who don't see eye to eye about bilingualism.
My husband and I are both English, but I wanted my daughter to be bilingual, so she started Italian when very little. My in-laws don't agree with raising my daughter bilingual, and my mum wanted me to choose French, not Italian.
So whether it is a partner that defaults to a majority language or family who doesn't see the point, the emotional toll can actually be real. What can be even more frustrating is if your child appears to not engage with a second or third language. Experts say that language acquisition is not a linear process, and it's important to keep in mind that every child is different. Some children make slow and steady progress, while others might take off like a rocket only to plateau after a few months. Others might not say a word in their second language for many months. A child seemingly not engaging and not speaking the second language for some time is actually a well-documented phenomenon, commonly referred to as the silent period in research in second language acquisition. And it can be a very normal stage of development for bilingual learners. During the silent period, the child is actively participating through his or her inner thoughts, deep in her or his mind through internalization of the spoken word. Another strategy to manage disagreements around raising a multilingual child is to address the root cause of tension, such as financial constraints, parenting approaches, judgment from family members, etc., which sometimes can hide under the multilingualism is confusing our child umbrella. And several parents have said that consistency, even just 15 minutes a day, matters so much more than who is on board. Number 3, there is just not enough time. This one might not be that surprising, and in fact, you can probably say there is not enough time in all aspects of parenting. Between cooking, feeding, schools, naps, and life, language exposure on some days can just feel like another thing on your plate. And of course, for families living overseas, like ours, parenting doesn't get any easier without a support network.
I find it hard trying to help his speech and language development while juggling between living in a new country without family around, lack of social contacts with local kids, as we both work full-time, and couldn't spare time to arrange for playdates.
So, how did these parents overcome the struggle? Some got really strategic about how much language exposure their child is actually getting.
I started tracking the hours of exposure in both majority and minority language to make sure she was getting at least 50% of her input in the minority language. I also added an hour of intentional exposure every day.
Others made low-effort, sustainable changes, like switching books, songs, and chores to the minority language.
Never give up, even when you are tired. Read a story in the target language every night. Use it all the time. Continued exposure is fundamental, in my experience.
And so that is the point. More isn't always better, but consistency always wins in the end. I also designed a play calendar full of short and fun prompts for use to introduce more second language into your child's daily life. Get your copy in the link below. Number 4, the mental load. A lot of parents say it's not just about time, but it's also about the mental load. The guilt when you slip back into English or whatever your majority language is, the constant switching, the tiredness.
It's hard to stick with it. Every time I speak English instead of Dutch, I feel guilty. It can be quite exhausting on top of the mental load of everything else.
If you are a parent, busy is your middle name. And language planning can feel really messy, if not unattainable at times. So here are some words of affirmation from the authors of The Bilingual Edge. Dial back the anxiety and remember that language learning is a lifelong process. A short break is not a total disaster. You and your children may need a little time to make changes and adjust. And so these stories remind me that it's okay to feel tired. It's okay to feel like you want to take a break from multiple languages sometimes. Raising a bilingual child is a long journey, and sometimes you have got to climb uphill to get there. In our little family, we're trying to raise our baby in 3 languages, and even though our baby is only a few months old, we have already started to speak to him in our native languages every day. On a good day, we might go from morning till evening speaking our native languages, and on other days, it might feel like feeding, nappy changes, putting the baby to sleep takes all of our energy away. And so we don't try to stretch ourselves and set unrealistic expectations every day. We just do the best we can. And number 5, where is the village? You know that saying, it takes a village to raise a child? When you're raising a multilingual baby, sometimes it feels like the village does not exist.
It is hard to find minority language playdates. Because even though there's a large Mandarin-speaking community around me, most parents don't manage to keep their kids speaking Mandarin.
So when you can't find support from people around you, or you can't find a community that shares the same goals and aspirations for bilingualism, it's understandable to feel really demotivated.
It can be a lonely journey. None of my close friends are raising bilingual kids. My only support is online.
And it can be really frustrating if other people question your choices.
People ask, aren't you scared your child will fall behind? It might seem like that at first, but trust the process. My daughter is the only one that can fully understand my parents out of all their grandkids.
Trusting the process pays off. And this is why many parents keep going, even without a village. Parents without a support network got really creative, and they reached out to other sources to supplement their kids' language exposure. These comes in the form of YouTube videos, music, educational shows, and movies.
I'm not fully fluent in Spanish, but I expose him to wider vocabulary with educational shows and movies. Sometimes I think he's doing baby babble, And then I hear the word when we rewatch a video and realize that he's actually talking.
If you're also considering using screens to support your child's language development, check out this video here for a dive into the global screen guidelines for children and also input from over 300 parents on how they are managing screen time for their kids. So if you are on a multilingual parenting journey, if you ever felt alone or you felt like you were not doing enough, I hope this video reminds you that you are doing a lot. And if you found any of these stories relatable, or if you found any of these tips and tricks helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and click on the bell so you don't miss future uploads. And leave a comment below to share which struggle hits home for you and your family the most. And make sure to tune in for part 2 of this video on the hidden challenges of raising a bilingual child, the struggles that people don't talk about enough. Thank you so much for being here, and see you next time.